Welcome to the show. I'm Carol. Today we've got a bit of a mixed bag. If you're feeling a bit down, or you know someone who's feeling a bit down, we're going to have a chat to David from on the LowDown about mental health and how to take care of it. And one of the most awesome things we can do for our mental health is to keep active, especially with music. Makes it even better. Be sure after the break to join in with the fitness routine, which has a bit of a twist flavour to it today. And then later on, have you ever thought about online dating? Or maybe you've tried it before. We're going to chat to Brian with some suggestions on the do's and the don'ts for online dating, so you have a better experience. There is no doubt that the majority of Australians have had their mental health challenged over the past 18 months. And the full impact of the pandemic is going to last for many more months to come. Today on the show we meet David Pearce, who after facing his own mental health challenges, launched On the LowDown. He works with community and government organisations to provide products and services to help us all with our mental health. Hi David, welcome to Over 50 So What. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Carol. I appreciate you lowering the bar from over 50s to 42s, low 40s.
Yeah, we have told the viewers that we do have people under 50 on the show if they've got something that's of really important value to them as viewers. So you definitely have something really valuable to share with us. And this is the whole issue of mental health. How did you start in this area of mental health?
It was to do very much with my own struggles. I didn't know what was going on in my mid-20s, but I broke up with a girlfriend, and I became pretty permanently sad for probably like 2 years. And then somehow I kind of got out of that, and I thought, I licked that one. I've got mental health all worked out. And then I got to my early 30s, and I was working in a job that I hated. And I was giving, I'm a really passionate guy like you, Carol. Well, obviously you're not a guy, but, equally passionate and, really wanting to make a difference and turning up to work, working really, really hard in something that just wasn't working. I found myself, I'd be going home at nights and, I was getting visited by these horrendous thoughts again. And I kept on thinking about ways that I could end my own life, and it's really weird trying to describe it to somebody. Like, I'm not trying to think about how can I kill myself, how can I end my own life. I'm just keeping on getting visited by these ideas by well, you could do it like this, or you could do it like that. And it was pretty horrible, and it became really sort of a bit overwhelming. And I realized, if I don't sort something out now, then things aren't going to end very well. And, I just knew that I couldn't exit, so to speak. And I knew that I would be letting a lot of people down and leaving a big hole in their lives. And that, not to shame anybody as well, by the way, who has ended their own lives, or people around, close to people who have either. We've all got our own journeys to go on. I was fortunate enough to have received that, insight. It was useful for me. And there was a funny moment at one time when, I'd been numbing the pain with drugs and alcohol, as a lot of people do, for quite a while. And my mate had gotten tickets to the cricket. And he's like, come along to the cricket. We'll get blind. I've got a box. It's all paid for. It'll be great. We'll eat and drink and be merry and forget about your troubles. It was a fork in the road. I literally had my bicycle. I was just finishing work, and it was just starting to rain, and the MCG is right on the way home right on my way home. And so I could have just gone right there. It would have been really easy. And then there's this workshop right on the other side of town, which is, wanted a lot of introspection and all sorts of heavy stuff. And I didn't want a bar of any of that, but there was this voice inside my head that said, well, you've been this way before. I got out of work and I could turn left or I could turn right. You know what I mean? And this voice said to me, you've been that way. Why don't you try something different? And I tried something different, and it was pretty full on weekend. A lot of tears and a lot of self-inquiry, and I learned a lot of things. I learned, about having a relationship with oneself, learn about that it's important to express ourselves, that it doesn't make you less of a man. For example, a lot of us blokes, we get told that if you cry or if you, seek help, it makes you somehow less of a person. I mean, am I allowed to swear on this show? Yeah, what a load of effing shit. Like, what a hoax, It's just, and I bought into that. And I'm a really emotional guy, so it didn't serve me well at all for a very long time. And so starting to come to terms with these feelings and these emotions. And then, at that same time, I'm struggling in my career to really find what I wanted to do. And, every day I'm finishing work, I'm going home and I'm just studying up on mental health. I'm just fascinated by it. One of the things that I was learning was some of this really big data, sort of this big picture stuff, which is that, well, for starters, not only was I not alone as a bloke who is struggling with their mental health, but it seems that guys end their own lives at a rate 3 to 4 times that as do women. I mean, what the hell's going on there? Seeing what, are men stupider than women or something? Like, no, of course we're not. We're just as smart as as women. But what's going on? Like, what are women doing right that men aren't doing right?
With this pandemic, 18 months lockdown, isolation, this show is about over 50s. What have you come across in the community with people in the over 50 age group and how they're coping with this?
Bit of a mixed bag, Carol, to be frank. Some of the good things are that it's been really wonderful to see this uptake in technology. Like, check us out. Star Trek has been doing this multi-screen thing for the last 50 years, and yet for some reason society has only just decided to get on board with Zoom and online meetings with people during a pandemic. So no idea what's going on there, but how wonderful to see such huge swaths of the community just starting to really upskill and learn how to do this. And so that's been very inspiring. And then, of course, the flip has been that there's a lot of people who really used to connecting with their community face to face. They are used to having visitors or going around and visiting friends, and maybe they live by themselves and they don't get to do that anymore. And that's sad. And it's very hard to, supplant, sort of a Zoom catch up or a FaceTime catch up doesn't really cut the mustard when you want to see your grandchild or you want to see your daughter or you want to see your best mate. Or
for people that are isolated, that just want to give their grandkids a hug or just, have a drink with a mate or something, what are your top tips to look after our mental health at this time?
That is such a good question. And that's something that I have put a lot of effort into trying to understand the answer to that question. I loved it when I saw that you were going to ask me that question. So for me, it really comes back to the absolute basics. So, are you sleeping? What are you eating? What's your diet like? Are you exercising? I know you're a specialist in fitness, Carol. So they'd be the top 3, and then also getting out in nature. How do you relate to yourself? How are you speaking to yourself? Are you being harsh to yourself the whole time? What can you do to be sociable as well? So Are you calling people up? You know, are you doing some sort of a Zoom thing? And then finally, I'd say cultivating an observational mindset. And I know that that's a bit of a mouthful, but really what I'm talking about is being able to observe our emotions, to be able to observe how we're feeling, and just to be able to observe it as opposed to be defined by it.
Well, thanks so much for coming on, and we hope to see you again. Thanks for watching our TV show. Be sure to hit subscribe and then you'll never miss an episode. Jump on Facebook, join our group, get in on the fun, fitness, wellness and inspiration. I'm Carol, over 50. So what?